everyone, it's Kate Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. I am so excited to have you here today because I am sharing with you the swap that I made for the Alaskan cruise. And so what Stampin' Up! Does is they send all of the trip achievers an option of swapping on board. And so many of us take that up. And so we're always trying to do our very best. So I'm going to share a card with you that I actually created for my daughter initially. In fact, it looks like this. And I made it for one of her bridal showers that she had. And I thought, oh my goodness, this turned out so cute. I'm going to go ahead and use this for my cruise swap. Boy, try to say that fast. Cruise swap. So anyway, we can go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and flip the camera down and then we'll get to work. All right, so let's go ahead and get started making this card. Now the card that I'm making for you is actually going to be a little bit different. In fact, we're using a clip from an embellishment kit. So let me show you that first of all. This is the embellishment kit that is in the Share What You Love product suite, and it is lovely, as you can imagine. First of all, the box is perfectly sized to fit a set of cards. So I just dropped one in here to show you what a nice size the box is. So you could probably get 5 or 6 cards in there with envelopes. And this is the card that I created. So this is one of the cards that I'll be swapping. And in addition to that, I'm also swapping it with my downline for the month of July. So looking forward to sharing this card with a lot of people this month. And so this is the outside of the card and this is the inside of the card. And you'll notice there's a little bit of a difference between the one that I did for my daughter. My daughter wanted a lighter green in her wedding that she's having this summer. And so I went with Pear Pizzazz on the card that I gave my daughter. But for the cruise swap and the swap that I'm doing with my downline, I'm going with Mossy Meadow. I just happen to like that little bit of a darker look along this edge. Then when you open it up, ta-da, you have a beautiful inside panel. So the other thing that I wanted to share with you is where are we getting these clips? Again, this is from the Share What You Love embellishment kit. And this kit comes with some very fine white thread. It comes with some Mossy Meadow, or it might be shaded spruce. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's Mossy Meadow baker's twine. And there's just a twist of Mossy Meadow and white in that. And then it also comes with clips. So you get 8 silver clips and 8 Grapefruit Grove clips. And so the card we're actually going to make today is going to use one of these Grapefruit Grove clips. And then you also get some laser cut labels, 8 of this smaller size and 4 of this larger size. So this is a really nice kit for $11 from Stampin' Up. So now let me go ahead and share with you all of the stamp sets that we're using. So we're going to use this Wonderful Moments stamp set. And you'll notice that the pictures look kind of small on here. That's because they're only at 70%. If you actually take the images out, you can see they're large enough that it requires 2 sheets. And let me just hold this up for you so you can see. This is the actual image that we'll be stamping with, and it quite overshadows the actual image on the front of the case. So we've kind of gotten used to seeing the images on the front of the case at full size, such as the Touches of Texture image. But I've noticed lately that Stampin' Up! Has gone with making smaller images on the front of the case so that they don't have to put everything into 2 cases. So that's nice, especially with photopolymers, because that saves a lot of room to have all of your stamps in one case. Not so with Touches of Texture. This is a red rubber stamp set, so you're going to need the case just to hold all of that cushion that we have with our red rubber stamps. So we're going to use this lace image out of the Touches of Texture stamp set. So let me move these out of the way. And as I mentioned, we're going to recreate this card, except we're going to be using a Grapefruit Grove clip up here, and we're going to use Grapefruit Grove ink, and we're just going to change this up a little bit. So we are going to start with gray granite. That's our card base. This is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold this along the score line. I'll use my bone folder here. Give that a press so it will lie flat for us. And then I'm going to just, while I'm thinking of it, grab a clip out of here. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention that is included in this little set are these really pretty silver flowers. They're actually pretty flat, and so I think they'll be quite mailable. But what I want right now is one of these Grapefruit Grove clips because we're going to use this on our card. So I'll put this back out of the way. And then we're going to need some of this Mossy Meadow. So I've cut that at 1 by 5 1/4. So we can go ahead and put that on our card because that is just put on flat. So I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we'll just glue both of these strips into place. So one of these strips is going on the outside of our card on the left-hand side. So we're just going to center that in and then give that a press. And then the other strip of Mossy Meadow is going on the inside panel. So we'll also just center that in. Give that a little press, let that stay in place. Then we're going to set this aside for a bit because we're not going to need it. Let's go ahead and do some of our stamping here. So we are going to need 2 panels of shimmery white cardstock, both of them cut at the same size. This is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And we are going to stamp our inside and our outside. So let me bring the Stampin' mat into the picture here because I want you to be able to see what we're doing. So I will open up my Memento ink pad. This is our Tuxedo Black Memento ink. This is the ink that Stampin' Up recommends for photopolymer. So we're going to do the inside panel first. I'm going to ink up the sentiment, and we'll stamp this up here. Give that a press, and there it is. Then we're going to stamp some lace at the bottom of this. So I know this is going to be stamping a little wide, so let me get a piece of scrap paper. And then we're going to grab this is our Grapefruit Grove ink. And this is one of our new in colors from Stampin' Up, so we'll give that a shot here. So we're going to ink up that lace panel. We're going to put the darker part of the lace at the bottom. And then without re-inking, we're just going to bring it up one more level and press that in. So you can see you have kind of this ombre look. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so that is going to get attached to, both of these panels will be attached to some Grapefruit Grove cardstock. This is 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And I cut it a little bit fat, which means it's probably a tad more than 5/8 and a tad more than 3/8, but this is the closest measurement. I want about a 1/8 inch border all the way around. So let me go ahead and we will just use a little snail on this. And we'll put this right here onto this panel and press that into place. Let me turn it around so I can burnish it. And then we're going to put this into the inside panel of our card. So I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue to do that. And we'll just set this in and wiggle that into place. And there it is. I think this is going to be a beautiful bridal shower card for a fall wedding because you've got the real deep green here and then this pretty it's more of an autumn color, this Grapefruit Grove. But it could be spring. I like it a lot. All right, so then let's go ahead and work with the rest of our stamping. So now we're going to stamp the front of the card. And I have my For the Bride sentiment right here. So I'm inking that up again in our Tuxedo Black. I'm just going to stamp this right here in the upper right. And now we want to stamp our bride, our beautiful, beautiful bride. So again, I'm taking the Memento Black Tuxedo ink here and making sure that's well inked. And we're just going to set this up so that the head is kind of even up there with the word bride. So give this a little press, pull that away, and there is the image. And I really like this placement. I like that the head is kind of between where the letters of the bride start and this edge here. So it's nice and centered between there. And now let's go ahead and do the Grapefruit Grove stamping of the lace. So we are going to ink up our lace with Grapefruit Grove, and we are going to do one stamp straight across at about where her waist is, so just below the waistline, and that's full strength. And then we're going to lift that up and bring it down and do a second generation stamp, just like that. So again, we have that same kind of variegated look going on, and it's so pretty. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is attach this to our front panel. So we're going to use some snail to do that. And I'll just set this in. And now what we're going to do is add our ribbon. Here are the two ribbons that we're going to use. We're going to do some layering. This is our gray granite textured weave ribbon. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit wider than our panel, and we'll tape that around the back. And then I also have some vanilla polka dot tulle ribbon. So I'm going to cut that about the same length. And then I'm also going to want it to kind of accentuate the veil. Well, there's not actually a veil, but when you put this up here, it sort of looks like there's a veil. So I'll just cut that about right here, and we'll trim that up in a minute. So I'm just going to set that piece aside. So let's go ahead and do our wrap. So we're just going to wrap this around and secure it with Scotch tape. And then we'll take our second layer of ribbon and we'll do the exact same thing. We're just going to wrap that around and secure it in the back with some Scotch tape. And there we go. It seems kind of odd to be putting a gray color with wedding cards, but gray is super in right now, as my daughter can attest to. Her wedding Pinterest boards are just full of grays and greens. And so I think this is going to be a very trendy card for you to give out. So let's go ahead now, and we are just folding this very vanilla polka dot tulle in half, and we're going to secure it up at the top of the card with that really cute clip that is in Grapefruit Grove. And I'm clipping that on so that the ribbon is not exactly folded exactly over the top. It sort of moves off to the right a little bit, and I love that look. It sort of looks like she has a veil on. So now what you can do is just trim this up. So I have my paper snips here, and I'm just going to trim this up just like so. And now we have this gorgeous, I don't know, I hope you can see it, but we have this gorgeous ribbon draping over here, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely perfect for a wedding card or a bridal shower card. So now this panel is all ready for the front of our card. So let's go ahead and add some dimensionals. And as you can see, I've gone ahead, I've added 5 dimensionals. So now we'll just set this right here onto the front panel of our card. And look how gorgeous this is. Perfect for a fall bridal shower. So here is the card I just created. Here is one of the cards that I created in advance. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am using these cards for our exchange on the Alaskan cruise. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this card with some of my fellow demonstrators. I hope you have a great day. If you'd like to place a product order, be sure to visit my blog at stampingtoshare.com. I have links there that will take you to my online store. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.